Oh, okay, now it's on. That's right. Yeah, I'll say it again. So isnad is from a speciality of this ummah, right? Al-isnadu min ad-din, lawla al-isnad laqala man sha'a ma sha'a, right? That if it was not for isnad, that is attributing it up to Nabi Karim Sam, then whosoever wishes would say whatever he wishes. But because we have a chain and a link to Nabi Karim Sam, nobody can just say things out of their back pocket. We find some Sahaba were so careful that if any Sahabi said that he heard this from Nabi Karim Sallallahu, then that Sahabi would, the other Sahabi would ask him that take a qasam on this, that you heard it. In other words, you're not just saying it, but you heard it directly from Nabi Karim Sallallahu. So particular they were, right? Now the kitab started with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, right? So here now, Musannif Rahmatullah alayhi, right? He started with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. He didn't start with Alhamdulillah, right? Following the ayat, Iqra Bismi Rabbikal Ladhi Khalaq, right? And there's a hadith which also says, Kullu imrin, kullum, kullu amrin, ذي بال لم يبدأ فيه باسم الله فهو أبتر, right? Every matter which is important, which is not started with Bismillah, then that matter is bound to fail, right? However, what about this hadith? There's another hadith. Kullu amrin dhi balin la yubtahu fi bihamdillah fawaqta. Every important matter which is not started with Alhamdulillah, then that matter will be cut off. Right. So they say, so what's the answer to this now? Because you're supposed to say Bismillah and Alhamdulillah. So they say in some nuskhas, they've got their Bismillah and Alhamdulillah. You understand it? So that answers that. Now we come to Kitab al-Tahar. Okay. أخبرنا الإمام حافظ أبو بكر أحمد بن علي بن ثابت الخطيب البغدادي قال أخبرنا الإمام القاضي أبو عمر القاسم ابن جعفر بن عبد الواحد الهاشمي قال أخبرنا أبو علي محمد بن أحمد بن عمر اللؤلؤي قال حدثنا أبو داود سليمان بن العشس السجستاني في المحرم سنة 75 و200 قال. So here's the full linkage here, right? So there's Abu Amr al-Lu'lu'i is saying that he should start Sulaiman bin Ashas al-Sajistani, right? Dictated to him now, you understand, starting from here in the month of Muharram, the year 275. Right. Right. Kitab al-Taharati. Right. The chapter of Taharat, right? So this obviously is going down now. See ya. So the Ustad here is Imam Abu Dawud, right? And in the Shagir, the student is Ahmad Dubnu Amarini Lu'iyu, right? But then they're going lower now from there. So all those names you find there is now going lower now. This is now going lower down, coming closer to us. This sanad here is coming closer to us. You understand it? So now all the other sanads now is going to be going up to Nabi Akram after this now, right? Kitabut Taharati, right? The chapter of Taharat, right? So the question here arises, why did Nabi Akram start, why did Abu Dawud start with Kitabut Tahara, right? So they say that وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. We have not created man and jinn except so they may worship me, right? So our object is to worship. And what is the pinnacle ibadat? Salah. And how do you make salah? You need wuzu. You understand it? Therefore, he started with taharat, right? And then you go, what does taharat mean? Izalatul hadath wa izalatul khabath. So the second one means khabath, in other words, take out all the najasat. You understand, from your body and your clothes and the place where you're reading salah. And izalatul hadath will have two, what's the name, right? Izalatul hadath al-asghar and izalatul hadath al-akbar. In other words, you need to be in a state of wuzu and you need to be in a state of ghusl, right? Babu takhalli in the qada'il hajati, the chapter of going into seclusion, right? At the time of fulfilling the need. In other words, a time of relieving oneself. So why did he start now with this here and the Kitabut Taharat? This is because the Fuqaha have mentioned that if a person wants to make wuzu or ghusl, then before that it's mustahab for him to relieve himself. Mustahab. You understand? Now you know your stomach is you relieved yourself. Now you can do your wuzu and ghusl nicely, and you can make your ibadat nicely. But otherwise, if your bladder is full and now you're making wuzu, then you don't feel proper. You understand it? Right. Uh, so, and then we find in the time of Jahiliyyah, these people would they would sit together and relieve themselves and talk. You understand? And their satar will be open to one another. Therefore, the need for this here. وبه قال حدثنا عبد الله بن مسلمة الكعنبي قال حدثنا عبد العزيز يعني ابن محمد المحمد يعني ابن عمر عن ابي سلمة عن المغيرة بن شعبة ان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان اذا ذهب المذهب ابعد. Right from Mughir ibn Shuba, he said, Nabi Sallallahu when he would go to the toilet, he would go to the place where he would relieve himself, then he would go far. Then he would go far. So in this hadith here now, it's not mentioned how far. But in the next hadith, it's coming, Hatta la yarau ahadun. So far that nobody can see you, right? And further explanations gave that this goes up to 2 miles or so. And they mention, why would you go far? What's the hikmat in going far? Because like that, amongst the houses, you can find tasattur. You can go into a parda type of thing, right? For relieving yourself. And you can find seclusion, like how we do now in the toilets. You understand it? So they say the hikmat of going far now, those days especially, was because you are at ease now. You can relieve yourself properly. Now, if you're sitting amongst people are right outside there, now you feel shy now to break wind in it properly. Then you don't relieve yourself properly. But nowadays they got it now in the what's the name where they just put the light on and then the extractor fan also goes on. So then it makes a noise also. So then you can also now it serves that purpose. You understand it? Of taking away the shyness now because it makes a noise. Right. Let's see. وابي قال حدثنا مسدد بن مسرهد قال حدثنا عيسى بن يونس قال حدثنا اسماعيل بن عبد الملك عن ابي الزبير عن جابر بن عبد الله رضي الله قال ان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان اذا اراد البراز انطلق حتى لا يراه احد. Right now Jabir ibn Abdullah is in Nabi Akram when he intend to relieve himself, he would go until nobody could see him. So far that nobody could see him. Right. So this word here, biraz and baraz, it comes with both, right? What it actually means is an open place, right? But afterwards, it got used. It is now used to mean when you go relieve yourself. You understand it? But the original meaning of it is an open place, right? Now we're going now a little bit into the sanad. They're going to speak a little bit about the sanad here so that you get used to the ustads and the rawis here a little bit, right? First thing we find here is that you'll see there now haddathana, right? This is now Imam Abu Dawood rahmallah saying, and he's saying it, and Imam and Abu Ali al-Lu'lu'i is recording it. You understand it? So Imam Abu Dawood is saying haddathana, and Abu Ali al-Lu'lu'i is recording it, right? Then we look at this first ustad there now, right? Abdullah ibn Maslamata. He is Musanni's ustad, Abu Dawud's ustad, right? And then you find at the beginning of the sanad, they read right haddathana full, right? Or they write akhbarana full, right? Then after that, in the middle now, they'll just now make it short. They'll say sana, that will mean haddathana. Or na will mean haddathana. Or ana will mean akhbarana. You got it now? Right. Right. Then we go. Right. Is there a difference between haddathana and akhbarana? So the mutaqaddimin, the earlier scholars, and the four imam also narrated, they say there's no difference, right? It means the same thing. However, the mutaakhirin, the later scholars, they say haddathana means when the ustad read and the student listened. And akhbarana means when the student read and the ustad affirmed. You understand it? Right. So there are different ways of now passing on hadiths, right? One is that way that we said now. Ustad reads, student listen. Another one is student reads, Ustad confirms, right? Then the third way is neither is anyone reading, right? And neither is anyone listening. The Ustad just tells the Sheikh, you got permission to narrate on behalf from me, right? That's a third type. The fourth type is that the Ustad has the hadiths written down and he gives him permission. Say, take these hadiths. He gives him either that copy or another copy. And he say, narrate these from me, right? Then the fifth type is the Ustad got the hadiths written down and he gives him permission to narrate it, even if he's not there. So he sends it to him and tell him you got permission. So whether he's there or he's not there, he sends the kitab to him and say, narrate from me, right? And then the fifth type they say is al-wijada, which is where he didn't get permission from the ustad, but he found a book of the ustad in which the hadiths were written. And now he narrates those same hadiths. But what he says, wajadtu fi kitabi fulanin. Yeah, fi asli fulanin. You understand it? Right. Then we come now to what was the second one there? Right. Then we look at that sanad there, right? That first sanad. حدثنا عبد العزيز يعني ابن محمد. So this Abdul Aziz ibn Muhammad ad-Darawardi, right? That's what is known as. Daraward is a village in Khurasan. They say this Rawi is mutakallam fi. Why? Because he's got a weak memory, right? Although he's a narrator in Bukhari also, right? But however, Imam Bukhari rahmatullah didn't mention his riwayat alone, rather connected with some. So in other words, on his level, while he might have narrated a standard with him in between, he would have brought another standard on his level where another narrator was. You understand it? That would be strong, right? Right. Then we find here, Yani Abdul Aziz, Yani Ibn Muhammad. What does it mean there? So imagine so here the student now, right? What he's doing is exercising precaution. That the Ustad said Haddathana Abdul Aziz. You understand? And the student is meaning which Abdul Aziz? Ibn Muhammad. So he's saying Yani Ibn Muhammad. So that's the student's words, Yani Ibn Muhammad. So he exercised precaution. He didn't say Abdul Aziz Ibn Muhammad. Because Ustad didn't say Ibn Muhammad. You got that now? Right. Then we have an Abi Salamata. You see there? An Abi Salamata there in the what's the name, right? That's Abu Salma bin Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Abu Salma, the son of Abdurrahman ibn Auf, radiallahu anhu. He is from the Fuqaha Sab'ah. He was considered, so he was a great faqih, right? Right. Then we come to the next hadith now. Musaddad ibn Musarhadin, the ustads of Imam Abu Dawood. He was a great muhaddis. And Imam Abu Dawood narrates a lot from him here, right? Then we find another rawi in that hadith, Anabi Zubair, right? Anabi Zubair, his name is Muhammad ibn Muslim ibn Tadarus al-Makkiyu, right? They counted him from the Mudallisin. So he was a weak rawi, right? That's why. The reason being, what is a Mudallis? Is that he would conceal a weakness. He would conceal a weakness. And therefore you see he just narrates from an. So it doesn't mean, so now sometimes you're not sure now, did he hear from Hazrat Jabir ibn Abdullah, or did he hear from somebody else who heard from Hazrat Jabir ibn Abdullah? Therefore they counted him from the Mudallisin, right? That's one reason that this hadith is weak. The other reason here they say in that sanad is Ismail bin Abdul Malik. Where is Ismail bin Abdul Malik now? Hadasana is Ismail bin Abdul Malik. You see there? Right. So Ismail bin Abdul Malik, they say he's also Rawi who is weak. There's lots of mistakes from him. Right. Next chapter. Babu Rajuli yatabawwa'u li bawlihi. The chapter of the man who searches for his urine. Right. So now, obviously, now when you want to urinate and you don't have the toilets there, you're in the field, so you're going to look for an appropriate place to urinate, right? So you're going to search now. Now maybe you don't find a good place, or whatever happens, wherever you urinate. Sometimes even if you urinate in soft sand too, sometimes there's splashes. So now the masla of rashashul bowl comes. What's a rashashul bowl? Those splashes which are equal to the pan head. You understand? So tiny splashes. So according to Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayh, those are not forgiven. In other words, you have to wash your body or your clothes. However, Imam Nawawi rahmatullah, he say, obviously now he's the sharah of giving the explanation there, he say that will be forgiven because of the difficulty. And you find most of the time this is what you can't abstain from. When you use a flat toilet, if you see not careful, you'll see in the light shines, you'll see the rashashul bowl. You understand it? Right. And according to Ahnaf, rashashul bowl on the body, on the clothes are maaf. However, if the rashashul bowl goes into Maya Qalil, then it makes Maya Qalil napak. You got that now? Right. Now we take this hadith here now. وبه قال حدثنا موسى بن اسماعيل قال حدثنا حماد قال اخبرنا ابو التياح قال حدثني شيخ قال لما قدم عبد الله بن عباس البصره فكان يحدث عن ابي موسى فكتب عبد الله الى ابي موسى يسال عن اشياء فكتب الي ابو موسى اني كنت مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذات يوم فاراد ان يبول فاتى دمسا في اصل جدار فبال ثم قال اذا اراد احدكم ان يبول فليتد لبوله موضعا. Right, narrated from. There's a sheikh here, when right, Sheikhun Majhulun, right? That when Abdullah ibn Abbas came to Basra, then he found that they were narrating on behalf of from Abu Musa al-Ashari. So Abdullah ibn Abbas wrote to Abu Musa asking about some things. So Abu Musa wrote to him and he said, I was with Nabi Akram one day and he intended to pass urine and he came to a soft part in the root, in the foundation of the wall. Then he urinated. Then he said, whenever one of you intends to urinate, then he should search for his urinating a place, right? Right. So what happened here was that Abdullah ibn Abbas was appointed as the governor of Basra by Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, right, when he was a Khalifa. When he reached there, then he found the people are narrating hadiths from Abu Musa al-Ashari. So to confirm this now, he writes to Abu Musa al-Ashari, and Abu Musa al-Ashari wrote to him back now, and this is one of the hadiths he wrote to him about, right? So fakana yuhaddathu, that would be correct, right? It is they were narrating from the people there were narrating from Abu Musa al-Ashari, right? So this hadith now shows that Nabi Akram came and he now urinated in a soft part of the foundation, right? Now here the objection is that this urine that we pass is acidy. And if you keep on using that acid on the foundation of the wall, it will weaken that wall. So Nabi Akram would not intentionally do that. So what is the answers to this here now? So we say firstly, that wall was an old wall, dilapidated place. So it didn't matter whether you urinated on it or on its foundation. Second answer is that it's possible that Nabi Karim narrated a little bit away from it. But Rawi, since it was near the wall, he said he narrated in the foundation of the wall. And the third answer they say is it possible that Nabi Karim got permission from the owner. Once the owner gives you permission, then you don't have to worry, right? Now we got here, who was the first? What's the name? Haddasana Hamad. No, where's Hamad now? Yeah. So you got Hamad there, right? Haddasana Musa ibn Qala, Haddasana Hamad. So they say that's Hamad here, right? In the Sunan here now, this is Hamad ibn Salama. You will find there's two Hamads that are famous in the Sunan. Hamad bin Salama and the other one is Hamad bin Zaid. When the Ustad is Musa ibn Ismail, and most of the time he narrates from Hamad bin Salama, right? Some very few times he narrates from Hamad bin Zaid, right? Then you got Abu Tayyah, that's his kunyat. His name is actually Yazid bin Humayd al-Daba'iyu. Then they got your Shaykhun. You understand? So this Shaykhun could mean an Ustad, or it could mean an old man also, right? So this Rawi is Majhul. In Musnad Ahmad, instead of Shaykhun, what they got there? Rajulun Aswadu Tawilun. You understand? A black, tall man. You understand it? Right. Now the question comes about you. But the Majhul Rawi, yeah? And he's narrating from who? From Hazrat. He's narrating and he's saying what happened, right? Right. So what is the status of a marhul? So there's two types of majhul. One is majhulul hal and majhulul ayn, right? Majhulul ayn is when nobody narrates from him except one person. So this person is majhul. They don't know who's he, and only one narrator from him. It's only one person narrating from him, right? So they got here. So here now, it will be accepted. The other there's three calls, right, regarding this person here now. Majhulul ayn, mutlaqan maqbul, mutlaqan ghair maqbul. Then the third is that if it's a habit of this majhulul ayn person, right, to narrate from thiqa, then his riwayat will be considered, otherwise it won't be considered. The second type of majhul is majhulul hal, right? And majhulul hal also got two types, right? One is majhulul hal zahiran wa batinan. As you don't know his condition. You might know the man, but you don't know his condition. You don't know his zahiran condition, either his batinan condition, then that riwayat is not mu'tabar, right? The second is you know his outer condition, you don't know his inner condition. So zahiran, you know him, he's a good person, he looks outside, from outside he's got all the right things on his outside, the beard, everything, right? But on the inside, you don't know. So he's what is called mastur. Another name for him is mastur. And according to Ahnaf, mastur is considered, right? His riwayat is considered with a condition that he is in the first three errors. Kurune salasa. He is in the first three errors. Right. So now this whole discussion of majhul and all that will only apply now to non-sahabis. If a person is a sahabi and is majhul, he's always going to be accepted. You got that now? Leave it till there.